So let's go over our learning targets. So today's learning targets are we are going to classify variables as categorical or quantitative. All right. A categorical variable, sometimes people call this qualitative to match with the other variable, quantitative. In this course, we pretty much just know it as categorical, right? That's all we're really going to call it. But just in case, I want you to know that it can also be called a qualitative variable because we were looking at qualities of something. But in this class, I think we pretty much use categorical, but just in case it comes up in your course as qualitative, and that's the same thing as categorical. Qualitative, opposite of quantitative. This is defined as a variable that describes data that fit into groups or categories. Groups or categories, right? That's why it's called categorical variables, categories. So some example would be like eye color. Are your eye colors black, brown, green, blue, hazel? It could also be gender or race, ethnicity, age group, okay? And notice that I'm putting group on there. That's important because if we're just talking about age, then that becomes really just quantitative. But if you're grouping them all together, then that becomes a categorical, right? You're grouping them into this group. These are all your infants, your toddlers, your children, your adolescents, your teenagers, your adults, your senior citizens, etc. Sometimes other books call this numerical variables, but really we're only going to be using quantitative. And this is data that are numerical and represent some kind of measurement. Oops, I write too big. Represent some kind of measurement. For example, we've got height, we've got weight, right? These are all like numbers that we collect. Miles per gallon. Good rule of thumb that I've heard that I think works is whether or not you can take the average of something. Because just because something is numbers, you can't really just take the average of it. So for example, zip codes. In National City, California, the zip code is 91950. Here in Eva Beach is 96706. So those are numbers, but I can't really take the average of the National City zip code and Eva Beach, Hawaii, 96706. Like what would an average of that number even mean? It doesn't mean anything, right? So just because something is a number doesn't necessarily mean you can take the average. But if you could take the average and it makes sense, then it's an indicator that it's probably a quantitative. All right, so we're gonna do an example.